gymnastics, in particular the balance beams and all that good stuff. And those girls are pretty fucking impressive. Excuse my French. They are very impressive. They are very talented. And anybody who says, oh, that's so easy, it doesn't really take skills, I would love to see you do that. I would love to see you do that, because the way that their legs are so defined and the way that they have to hold positions while entertaining and doing flips and whatnot, God bless. That's all I gotta say is God bless. And that does take skill and it does take talent. So I was enthused watching that. Hey y'all. So welcome to this Paint Your Truth. This session is in the new year. It's 2022. The last time I left y'all, it was December. So happy new year. As well as let us set the intentions, and then we'll go into why we're here, some quick updates on life, and of course, practicing and prioritizing our mindfulness with process painting. So let me sage the room real quick. Then do 3 taps of the sing bowl. We're gonna inhale and exhale, and then we'll get into the gist of things. Hopefully this year has been good to you starting off. This is the later end of January, but hopefully things have been harmonious because it is the 6th year. Hopefully things have been abundance. Hopefully you have new and progressive and substantive things happening for you. Love and harmony and peace and all that jazz that 6 represents. But let's clear out this room. Let's clear out any insecurities, any doubts, any hesitations. Let us prioritize and focus our mindfulness, our wellness, our health. Let us be present in our most creative space, and let us prioritize grace and self-sufficiency and confidence. And anything that doesn't embody that positive energy, let it remove itself from this room. Ashe, ashe. And like I said, let's do an inhale and an exhale with the singing bowl. 3 taps. That felt good. Hopefully it felt good to y'all too. And as y'all know, if y'all been here before, I love using the lavender spray. This is an essential oil, perfectly healthy, perfectly organic. It allows me to be present. Lavender is a scent that grounds people. It's used in a lot of products, especially when we're talking about spa or relaxation or things of that nature, essential oils in general, but especially lavender. It helps you be present with the mind, body, and soul. So I'm going to spritz it, inhale it, and then I'm going to continue talking as I do. Ooh, that felt good. So this is process painting. As you can see, I'm still on the pop out art phase. And what that really means is like a canvas that I already painted, but I want to give it that 3D effect. I want some aspects of the portrait or just the canvas in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be a portrait, but the canvas. I want aspects of the depiction to pop out. So I'll add pieces of dry paint. Usually I tell people to use only a penny amount. It seems small, but you could always build up and build back by getting more paint. But once the paint is out of the tube, it's kind of hard for it to get back into the tube. So it ends up leaving on the paint palette, if I can open the bag, it ends up leaving something like chunks of dry paint. Now, usually people just throw it away, but I'm not usual people. I'll do something with it. And I ended up stumbling upon pop art. And I created a couple of pieces before within this, I guess you can say, collection. And I'll add them here in the editing process within this particular video. But I started this painting back in September. And I started the pop-up art process as well, but I didn't have enough dried up paints. The irony. So then I had to dry some, use some, paint some more canvases, and now I have more dried up paints. And now I want to add to this particular canvas. So that is what we're going to do for today. So let me give you the gist of what process painting is and how it is different and unique than traditional paint nights, paint and sips, and just paint classes in general. So process painting is the act of being mindful and present while painting. Seems simple enough, and it actually is if you can ground your body to be intentional. So with process painting, we connect the mind, the body, the soul to internalize what you need in the sense of what prioritizes you, what makes you feel whole within yourself. What does self-care look like for you, right? Because we're all different people, we all have different needs, and some people are a little bit more this versus other people are a little bit more that. But mindfulness and self-care in practice and action looks different for each person, and with process painting we connect back to what is needed for the individual person. Yes, it is a group workshop, so there are different people, but again, everybody's different. We all are sharing this space and getting our self-care on as a group. Now with these workshops, they can be personalized, so it could be like, let's say you and your friends, you and your family, let's say you and your church, or it could just be a workshop that I throw out throughout the year where it's very much of a first sign up, first come, first serve type of situation. So I've been doing this since 2016, 2021. I have bigger plans in the making. I don't want to jinx myself, but I have a couple of cool things coming up, and I'll let y'all know what it is when the time comes. But that is the gist of process painting. The way that I do it under Paint Your Truth, me, the facilitator, I bring to you everything that you need. Whether it's the paints, the paint cups, the paint brushes, the canvases, the easels, everything, I provide it. And the only thing that the clients or participants need to do is be mindful in the space, be present and open to experience process painting. But all the materials, I provide them. And we usually paint for about 2 hours. We talk, we laugh, we share. And then after the session, we come back into the fold, we come back into the circle, and we discuss, what did we paint? How did it make us feel while we're painting? And how we are going to incorporate whatever the portrait is, whatever the depiction is within the canvas for each individual person. How are they going to keep themselves accountable for inserting whatever self-care looks like into their lives, right? And that is just a process painting. Then, after everybody shares and we support each other in the process, people take their canvases and they incorporate it into their lives. So that is just a process painting. I think I covered all my bases. And if you are in the Massachusetts area and you would love to participate in Paint Your Truth workshop, again, for whomever you think would benefit from this, you can definitely reach out to me via email at paintyourtruth.art@gmail.com. Everything in the description box, just like every other YouTuber. So I think I got that covered. I'll explain a little bit about this particular canvas, and then I'll add some pieces. We'll get to talking like we typically do. Blase, blase, right? So this canvas, I painted it at, I forgot what particular park, but it was a park in Cambridge, I believe. It was the Arsenal Park. That's where it was. It was the Arsenal Park. And that's like borderline Cambridge, borderline Arlington if you're from Massachusetts. But I was there. So I painted this particular canvas, and it was just giving me the energy of just being free. Being free, but not just free like childish, like kids on the blacktop, kids at the playground, just free and just running and yelling your head off. But free in a sense of like free from stress, free from PTSD, free from anxiety, free from depression, free from stagnation. Just the energy of like, I am present, I am in my body, and I am in control. That sense of free, right? And when I was painting this particular depiction, I was thinking of either an owl or an eagle, the bird of choice that soar up high into the sky and then see things from a different perspective, right? When you are on the ground level, you can mostly see things on an eye level. Things that are taller, yes, you will have to slant your head back and see the bigger image, but you most likely see things at an eye line vision view, as well as you can only see things from a particular distance, right? If you're on the ground floor, you can only see things that are straight ahead of you. But if you're, let's say, on the 13th floor, you're able to see the ground floor, all the aerial aspects, left, right, up, down. Like, you can see everything because you have a better gauge of view. And that's what I wanted to depict with this particular canvas. I want to show the image of not only being free like a bird, but also having a grasp of seeing things. Interestingly enough, since I do tarot and I do occult knowledge sharing, we'll say that, on this channel as well, not while I'm doing process painting workshops, but just content on this channel. You know that I recently did a full moon ceremony for January, and it was on the 17th, which also happened to be Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And within that theme, the theme was communication, because it's the new year. So we want to set the tone for the new year, and we want to understand what this year has in store for us. And that was the whole ceremony for all the 12 houses. What are some messages and themes that are going to appear, not just in January and not just during the energy of the full moon in the weeks to come, but also for the tone for the rest of the year. And with that whole reading, the consistent theme was to be direct, to have clear communication, to set your boundaries, to be very honest, even if it is brutally honest with yourself and the people that you're engaging with, because you need you to be in harmony. You need to be in peace with yourself. You need you more than you need anybody else. Because if you cannot get yourself to a safe place, then how are you going to create that environment outside of yourself, right? You have to have peace within self before you go out here trying to give peace and world peace advice to everybody else. So with that energy and Mercury currently being in retrograde, the planet of communication that also rules over Gemini and Virgo, but the energy there with Mercury being in retrograde is to reevaluate how we are in commune with other people. How do we communicate? How do we even express our needs? And technically, the moon that just passed, the full moon in January, was also the full moon in Cancer. It was representing that Cancer energy. So how do we nourish ourselves? How do we go back into self? How do we set boundaries? How do we love ourselves? How do we express our love? How do we express that we need a break? How do we express that we need to go into hermit mode? But right now, you're in between spaces, you're in between energies. You want to take things slow. You don't want to recuperate. And that's the energy with this bird flying high. Before I dart in and get what I want to get, how do I make those moves? How am I strategic? Am I seeing things from a different angle? Are there miscommunications? Am I seeing things from my point of view? Because it's easier to see things from your own point of view, but it's harder to see it from someone else's point of view. Am I seeing things 360, or am I being more, let's not necessarily say selfish, but one-sided? You only see things from your own point of view, because we're trying to be in commune. We're trying to get to some type of resolution. Are we creating space for that resolution, even if it doesn't look like the way that you want it to? So it's being that mutable energy, that Gemini, Mercury, Virgo energy, being mutable at this particular time with yourself and the people closest to you. And this is what this energy embodies. Not only technically right now, this is January 24th, Monday. So technically it is Aquarius season. And Aquarius is a air sign, and birds are associated with air, so it's giving the vibe. So it's kind of fitting that I'm working on this particular canvas. But the energy in totality is the energy of seeing things from a different perspective, changing what needs to be changed, and then going directly at your goals. So all that talking just to say, this is what we're working on. Again, hopefully this new year was good to you. Hopefully you did something, you went somewhere, you maybe even celebrated with some friends. Yesterday was Sunday, the 24th, and I didn't do anything grand, but I did meet up with my friends at Castle Island, which is not an island or a castle, but is a particular place in South Boston. where you can see the Marines, you can see like even old history of like when World War I was happening, and like the different bases and things of that nature. Even like the Constitution, I don't know if y'all know about that, but it's like a ship that is significant to US history, and it's on the harbor, and it was all of that historic Boston flavor yesterday. But it was just good meeting up with my girls and just talking, not really doing much, not really saying, not no we did talk, we did say quite a few things, but like the energy of just taking it slow. And I felt like we were all on the same wavelength. Of course, different lives, different expectation, different work schedules, etc., etc., but we're all on the same energy of like we're on our hermit-ish, or working on ourselves quietly, kind of like move in silence, but it wasn't a secret, as opposed to figuring out what we want our next stage of our lives to look like. We're all relatively the same age. We have like basically the same or similar politics. So meeting up with my girls was a great time. And we actually decided that we're gonna do something very cool and very different this coming February. Side note, if you've ever been to a place in New Hampshire called Ice Castle, let me know what you think about that, because we're thinking of going in February. And it's really because our Pisces girly, she's very adventurous, and she is just like a Pisces. You don't see it coming. Like, you would think that you could fit her into a box, fit her into a mold, and then she surprises you, because out of me and my other friend, she is the most, I would say, adventurous. And my other friend, she's a Leo, and I always call her the manager, because she's always like, so where are we going? What are we doing? And it's not even out of like annoyance, but as opposed to like just knowing things. Like a manager, they just have certain things in order. And me, being the Taurus that I am, I tend to always be like the mother archetype, where I'm always taking care of other people. I'm always planning for other people. I'm always problem solving for other people. And with this friendship group, that is not my job. Like, everybody got their own thing. Everybody's secure. Nobody got like baby daddy drama issues. Like no one's like dick crazy. Like, everybody's like full and functional, just women. And I love that energy. So, and we could talk about anything, differences. We don't have to like bend each other's arm to be like, say it my way, say it my way. It just is. And it's good to have friendships where it just is. Like, everything doesn't turn into a debate. You're not trying to Mrs. Fix anybody. Everybody can be adults about things. And people keep to their word. All of things that are very important. Not only because it is Aquarius season, and Aquarius is not only the 11th house, but the house of friendships and just group gatherings. So it could be like a church group, or friendships, or even family, or it could be a club or whatever. It's the house of collectives. So, and the house of technology and medicine as well. So I don't know how I got here, but the point is, it's good to have friends who got their ish together. And of course, we don't always have our ish together at every second of the day. And of course, we're always improving ourselves. But the basics of like, I am a healthy, whole, intentional, and self-aware human being is a great place to start. And that's definitely that. I'm gonna try to make a slit in my eye, because birds typically have like smaller pupils. Birds and cats, they have that slit in their eye, and reptiles too. It's a fact in regards to lighting, how they perceive light and how they are able to, you know, see. The more the eye is full, the more light is in the eye, but the less the eye is full, the more the particular animal is trying to get a better reach and a gaze for what they are trying to usually prey upon. And fun fact, goats, their pupils are horizontal, and that's a way for them to gauge like not only predator, how to be a better predator, but also the landscape. It helps them to be able to get their food and maneuver and all that animal stuff. So there's that. What has happened since the last time I left y'all? I've still been doing my spiritual baths. There's a couple of grants that I've applied to and a couple of things that are in the making. And because I am a big proponent on moving in silence, I don't want to say anything, not because it's a secret, as opposed to when it's there and it's already set in stone, that's when I want to be like, oh, by the way. Versus like me not really sure and then me putting it out there and then like I'm either have to face some type of setback, or I misspoken, or don't count your chickens before it hatch, whatever the saying goes. It's something like that. So I want to make sure that everything's everything before I say what I really want to share. But that's the latest happening with me. I've been on my hermit mode for a very long time, since like I could say late December, and it's the energy of like I want to do something, but if I'm just not in the mood to do it, I'm not going to do it. And I've just accepted that about me. It's been a very, very, very hard thing to accept about myself, but I realized the more I try to do something just to do it, just to check it off my list, but like I feel exhausted by the end of doing it, because I could have just spread out the time or just waited until I was in sync with the energies to do something versus forcing myself, because I'll get it done, but I'll need like a whole week to recuperate, because it's just like, it's not hard, as opposed to it just took a lot of physical labor out of me. It took a lot of productivity out of me, and to recuperate that energy, to fill it back up, it's going to take me a couple of days to like gather that energy. I feel like if you're very intentional with your body, you're very present within yourself, you understand what I'm saying. I think to people who are very much like girl boss and hustle mentality and get it out the mud, they're like, what are you talking about? I don't get it. Maybe a Capricorn's out there looking at me like, I guess. But yeah. Hopefully all has been well in your life. I know I said that before, but have you did any practices like religious ceremonies? Have y'all gone out with friends? Have y'all visited family? It is that still, until like February, really, it's still that family gathering season, as well as, with COVID, shutdowns, virtual learning, supposed mandates that are not mandates anymore, and all the things that is these days of our lives. Hopefully you are taking time out to just decompress, to take care of yourself, meet up with friends, meet up with family, go back to the places that make you feel seen and heard and loved and all that good stuff. Because I've even noticed with me, like there's certain content I just can't have my body listen to right now, because I'm just not in the space to hear it. Not because I'm a snowflake, or not because I want to escape from reality, but it's literally information overhaul. And again, this is Mercury retrograde, so we looking at things differently universally because of the planetary positions, but also I'm very intentional about what I need. And if I need a break, I need a break. I'm that type of person. Like I will quote unquote go ghost on people, and it's not going ghost, as opposed to like I need me. Like I need to go back into myself. I need to be a turtle in my shell, because that's where I can think clearly. That's where I can meditate. That's where I can give myself the love and the care that I'm looking for. That's when I can notice certain physical things about myself, emotional things about myself. That's how I can reassist myself. That's where I can like reorganize myself from a mental, emotional, psychological, and even a physical point of view when I'm back into myself. And I think people think that's selfish, or people think that's weird, but it really helps me self-regulate when I'm able to get in my hermit mode. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, because they're not able to do that for themselves. And again, different schedules, different atmospheres, different culture, different expectations, different work, yada, yada, yada. Just all those differences in this itemized society that makes it hard for you to know what you need. There are people who, because of circumstances, they work like they are a hamster on a hamster wheel, but they haven't noticed that like they have a bad cough, they haven't noticed that they have like a sore back. Like, these are things that are physically impacting them, but because of the stress of keeping up, they don't have time to even recognize these pains and ailments. And if you don't even have time to recognize it, then how do you have time to mitigate it? How do you have time to solve it? And we're not even talking about if you even have access to healthcare, or even access and a means to pay for said healthcare without going into medical debt. So I say this to say is that it's important to find time, even when it's so hard to find time. And I understand, truly I do. But what I am going to say, which is true, but maybe not what people want to hear, you only got you at the end of this thing called life, and you got to be good to you first and foremost. People gonna do what they gotta do. People gonna figure out what they gotta figure out, but you gotta do the same for you too. Period. And I don't want it to come off as a rant. I don't want to come off like me being elitist or me telling you what to do, but you need you more than you need anybody else. Because again, how can you care for people, take care of people, function as a human being when you're like half past dead? Honestly. We can be honest here. It's just a judgment-free zone. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, if you don't prioritize your health, your lack of health is going to prioritize you, if you catch my drift. If you don't go to the doctors and something's going on with your body, it might get to a point where it's not irreversible and you're going to have to deal with your body. So, putting it out there, a judgment-free zone. I understand the difficulties and the obstacles, but I am going to tell you what the divine has told me. It's only fair. I really want an emotional support animal this year. I've wanted one for the longest, but like this year, it's not even a negotiable. I'm going to get me an emotional support animal. And I want a kitten. In particular, a British short hair kitten. Specifically, because I have this figured out, because I am a Taurus, you know, I definitely have these things thought out. I want a chocolate looking kitty with blue eyes and pink paws. I've seen a couple of pictures of them, and oh my goodness, if I could take them from the screen and put them in my lap, I would have just took them off the screen, put them on my lap, and would have called it a day. I really, really want one. They are very expensive, sweetie, but they're worth the cost, because sometimes, especially as women, I'm gonna put it out there, because I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20, so I see things differently, and I can see them from both perspectives. I can see the change in thought, the change in actions, the change of the way that I process life. But again, because I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and this is what I'm gonna say. Especially in this world that we live in, especially because we are in late stage capitalism, especially because a lot of young people, and I am included in that young people scenario, and the mentality of antinatalism. As women, we're not all the same. We don't all think the same, but as women, we typically do certain things that are very similar. For instance, there are care providers like babysitters, teachers, even nurses who care for children, but they have no desire to have children of their own. But if you see the way that they care for other people, places, and things, you would assume that they'd be a great mother. But it's not in their hearts, and it's not in their cards for them to have kids, even though they're great caretakers and lovers and providers and all the great things that make mothers mothers, but they don't have the desire to birth anything out their body. And some women, they do have the desire to do that. They have it so strongly that they will have a child even if they are not able to provide for said child, because they feel the need to have a child. And then there are other people who are interested in having children, but because of their social economics and the lack of, let's say, support, family support, the lack of, let's say, even government support with like child tax credit being taken away after the pandemic under the Biden administration, there are women who want to have kids but cannot afford kids and would know that they would be in debt and stressed out if they were to have kids. And then there are women like me who are open to the idea, but most likely will not have children, but still want to care, but not in the capacity of where it becomes a job, more so in the capacity of like communing, more so in the capacity of caring for others, caring as a community, caring for things that deserve that attention. For an example, I have a few plants. They're not animals, they are alive, but I care for them dearly. I look after them. I give them the right nourishment, the right plant food, the right temperature of water, the right sunlight, and I even talk to them. I even dust the dirt, not even dirt, but dust off of them. I dust the dust off of them. Like, I do care and have concern for them. And every time I see something a little bit off about them, whether the soil is dry or I'm saying like maybe a crack in the plant or something, it brings me it makes me very nervous, and I start looking up all the symptoms online, just like I would do for an actual human being, trying to figure out what's the diagnosis. Yes, I do that because it gives me joy to care for something outside of myself, and it gives me even more joy when I see my plants grow new leaves. I have a snake plant, and I have not a cactus, but the family of the cactus. It doesn't really need water. So though they don't talk, though they don't do anything human-like, but I do love to see them grow. I do love to see them produce more leaves. I do love to see them repair themselves, and that brings me joy. The same thing with a support animal. I don't think my cat is going to be like Salem from Sabrina and start talking to me or nothing like that. But the care and the joy to care for an animal, and don't underestimate animals. Just because they can't talk and just because they can't do certain human things does not mean that they don't have intelligence. Animals are very, very emotionally intelligent and just intelligent in general. And that's where I'm at. I'm at a place where I can care for others and I can care for people, places, and things, but I don't want it to be a job, because then it takes away the pleasure of actually caring, and it becomes something like a duty. It becomes something like a chore, and you become burnt out. But I do love to care, and I do love to provide that service, just not in a sense of a job, and out of literally act of service, out of because I genuinely like doing it. Like, I genuinely like doing it, so I do it. Even with Paint Your Truth, I do that because I genuinely like doing it. I genuinely like having the conversations with people, and they're like, you know, I never did something like this before, and it makes me feel very peaceful. It makes me feel at peace, and I wish I would have gotten into this before. Or, you know, I'm gonna talk to this in my therapy office. Well, not my therapy office, but I'm gonna take this picture into therapy and talk about this with my therapist. You know, there's certain feelings that came up that I thought I was over, and come to find out I'm not that over it, or whatever the case may be. And that's why I do what I do, and hopefully that's why you do what you do. Also, I've been drinking a lot more teas because A, it's the weather for it, and B, because, you know, the bug is still going around and no one has the answers to how to solve these situations. So it's not science backed, but me and my friends were actually talking about that. Like, because of the weather and everything, that's everything, we do all the precautions that we can, which also means brewing teas, drinking soups, keeping a low-key type of vibe and energy, and things of that nature. Again, it's not science backed, but I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm safe, including drinking teas. Not only is it because it's good for your digestive system, but it does help. I mean, when you sick, what does your mother do? What does your What does the doctors represent? Drink the teas, drink your fluids, make sure you know you're resting and all that jazz. It's exactly what we do. So, and that could help anyone out there. Definitely start doing that if you're not already. Drink your teas, brew some soup, take extra supplements and vitamins if need be. And again, I'm nobody's doctor, so if you have other medical, like let's say, situations going on, again, I'm not a medical doctor, let's say it's diabetes, let's say it's hypertension, whatever it is, please seek sound medical advice. I'm just saying what I do. And again, this could be my bias because I don't have a chronic illness or anything like that. So please do what is best for you. And anything that you're gonna add into your diet, discuss it with your doctor, as you should. Also, last Sunday, not the one that just passed, the Sunday before that, I was watching some type of, not award show, I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't say like the Olympics or something, but some type of like gymnastic thing. And I think it's like a college gymnastic thing. So like I don't know, I'm not a sports head like that, so please forgive me if I say it incorrectly or whatever the case may be, but it's like the NCAA or NCAA or something like that, where they show, you know, college kids getting their sportsmanship on. I was watching the gymnastics, in particular the balance beams and all that good stuff, and those girls are pretty fucking impressive. Excuse my French. They are very impressive. They are very talented. And anybody who says, oh, that's so easy, it doesn't really take skills, I would love to see you do that. I would love to see you do that, because the way that their legs are so defined and the way that they have to hold positions while entertaining and doing flips and whatnot, God bless. That's all I gotta say is God bless. And that does take skill and it does take talent. So I was enthused watching that 2 Saturdays ago. And who was my babies who won? Because they really killed the show. They was the last to do it, but they really did the thing. There was Naya, and there was another girl, I forget, but they was from the Florida Gators. Those girls tore it up, literally. And I was proud. I was like a proud mama watching them. All the girls was great. All the girls were great. But those 2 final girls, oh, they tore everything up in a good way. So let me give them credit. Naya and Trinity. I knew it was T something. It was T something. I was about to say Tracy or Tracy. It's something. It's Naya and Trinity. Those 2 girls rocked it. They killed it. They slayed. They were great. And I did like Naya's throwback to the good old, you know, millennial music, as they say, the geatric millennials. Okay, she did have some remixes of throwbacks. I did appreciate that. It did keep me on my toes. But Naya and Trinity, those 2 girls are not to be played with, because they delivered. They understood the assignment and they delivered. So I was proud to see that, like a proud mom. First time watching the not the Olympics, but gymnastics like that. And I just stumbled upon it, but it was such a great treat. I wish them nothing but success in Olympics and wherever that takes them. And all the girls, but those 2 girls, they literally tore the house down. Okay, y'all. Ooh, this took me some time, but I was thoroughly in it. I was like building a concept as I was adding pieces. But let's bring the energies back to center. Retest with the singing bowl. Let's do it. Already. So like I was saying, I feel completed. If you can hear from the tone of my voice, I just felt like I just had to put this there, put this there. And the more I like looked at the image, I saw like where I needed to put the pieces. I saw like that's underneath the chin to give it like a distinction from like this is the face and this is like the chin area to give it more of a 3D effect. This could be like the feathers pluppering and fluffing up and like getting out of order, like a typical, like, you know, a bird that was just flying in the air, just going through some things, right? And side note, birds and even cats, but more so birds, they prim themselves because it helps them with their flight as well as like their own emotional intelligence and like their security. They do a lot of priming. They do a lot of like organizing their feathers because it helps them with flight. It helps them survive, as well as it's a form of like coping. Self-care is a form of like giving back to self-care for the, you know, owls, eagles, any type of birds, penguins, even this gosh darn pigeons, you know. So that was the vibe, and I wanted the nose to stick out, but ironically enough it looks like the beak is opened, so I'm gonna allow that to be that. But I like the feathers are popping up. This looks like, you know, if it was organized, the feathers, they would be in order, kind of like, let me pull up a picture to give you a bird's eye view. You see how those are kind of like ripple effects? This is what these pieces resemble, as well as like if it was in order, it would look as, you know, uniquely formatted, uniquely organized. It would look like a pattern, right? And I was trying to give it the feel here and then give it like different colors of array of the feathers, because there's a top coat, but there's underneath the feathers that could be a different color, which embodies this owl, as well as I wanted the eyes to pop out to give it more of a depth look with the owl. I did the bridge of the eyes. I made sure that the ears were perked, but I wanted my little baby not to be so mean. I wanted my little baby to give a little bit of flirtatious. It's like a good bird, not a good bird, but like a good message, like a messenger pigeon, or even like doves that represents like good news or peace. I know canaries, the yellow birds, they represent like a message, like a warning, because back in the days, coal mining still exists, but back in the days when that was the primary source of energy, the coal miners would use canaries to sound off an alarm if, let's say, the mine was going to collapse or there was something dangerous. They would use canaries because canaries they have great sensory, they have great hearing, as well as their vocals, because they are birds that speak. So, or have tonnage, maybe not speak, but they have vocals, right? So whenever there was an emergency or something that could have been even more devastating, the canary would sing and therefore let the miners know to get out the mine. So I don't remember why I even told y'all that story, but nonetheless, I wanted my owl to reflect more on the positive side, giving a positive message, kind of like the Page of Cups, or even forewarning, foreshadowing, even the Ace of Cups, something like a good message, a good birdie, kind of like Twitter was supposed to represent, then Twitter became something else. But nonetheless, it's a message of like good news is arriving, and that's the energy that I was embodying when I was adding to the canvas. It totally looks different, but I really love how it turned out, and it gives it a lot more of that 3D affair. I might mess around and add more pieces in the middle, but I'm not sure right now. But for right now, I feel like it is completed. How did I feel about this pop-out art session? I was a little bit nervous because I definitely did not really have an idea of what to put on the canvas, and this has been a project, again, I started back in September. It's January 1st, well, not the first, but it is the first month of the year, and it is January of 2022. So it's like I want to tie loose ends up, especially since it's Aquarius season. So it's kind of fitting for me to be working on this particular image, as well as, you know, I wanted to do something. I wanted to get into my artsy mode. I wanted to get into my creativity, because I kind of been delaying it because, again, I just didn't have the intent for it, because my energy wasn't where it is now, and I don't like doing things just to do it and then be like, I could have done it better. I could have put more pep in my step if I had it, and I did not have it. But then today kind of came around. I was just like, you know what, I have it for today. I can do this. So I did what I did. This is the depiction. I don't think I need to rehash what this collage is all about, but to keep it short, it's just embodying a new vision, being visionary, being more, I would say, analytical or strategic before you go and attack something. Not attack in the sense of like sports, like attack, but more so like before you go into something, you communicate something, you say something, you do something, think about it, see it from different perspective, make sure that you're correct when you're coming into the conversation, because sometimes we're so defensive or we have such hard lines and we swear to God it's this way, and then once we have more information, we're kind of like, oh, well, I just jumped off the porch and landed on my ankle. And that's if you're self-aware enough to even accept that you were wrong. Other people who do not have the emotional intelligence will die on the hill of being wrong because they feel that they should be right and therefore they are right. There are people who disregard the facts, disregard the evidence because their ego is attached to their own outcome. So that was a reminder of that. How am I going to incorporate it? Like I said, I have a couple of things in the works that I'm not going to speak out loud on camera until everything is solidified. But it is giving me the energy of compromise, because this is a 6 harmonious year. And we think about 6, I think about like the 6 of Pentacles. Not only because I'm a Taurus, but I also have a Libra moon. But when we're talking about the 6 of Pentacles, it represents that Libra, mutual justice, harmony energy. Not only because it depicts a person with a scale and giving back to those who are less fortunate, but it also depicts the energy of being on the same wavelength. Oftentimes we use these bureaucracies, we use these classism, these racism, these politics, this cultural war to divide us, but we don't hone in on the things that bring us together. We all want to be loved. We all want a livable wage. We all want to be in community. We all want to live a happy and healthy and reciprocal lifestyle. Regardless if you're on the left, the right, and everything in between, we all can agree we want the same basic principles, the same Maslow hierarchy of needs. We want the same things covered. And I feel like if we focus more on that than all the other things that might pull us to opposite ends, we can find a mutual understanding, a mutual resolution. So this is what this canvas is reminding me. And this is how I'm going to implement it into my life in regards to just communication. I do pull tarot, so I do have a lot more insight as well as intuitiveness working with me, but I also know who I am as a person. If I feel as if you're not a person that was credible back 2 years ago, it might be a 2 years new you, but I'm going to rely on the information that I know, and I'm going to act accordingly. Until I have new information that actually matches up with what is being said, then I can, believe it and go forward if I so choose to, right? The best apology is changed behavior. So if the behavior matches up with this supposed new persona, then I'm more likely to believe there has been real change versus someone who's just saying I've changed, but the actions don't follow through, if you catch my drift. But this is the canvas, this is the finished look. Hopefully y'all like it. Hopefully y'all were entertained. But let me hit you with the shameless plugs before I go. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Paint Your Truth. On Instagram, it's paintyourtruth_. Don't forget the underscore. And via email, if you would like to set your own painting workshop because you're in the Massachusetts area, or even if you would like to do something like Zoom, you have the materials, but you would like me to facilitate the overall workshop, and as well as the steps by steps that I take with the clients and participants during the workshop that I don't film when I do these videos on YouTube, definitely reach out to me via email at paintyourtruth.art@gmail.com. If you would love to show your generosity or your appreciation, you can always send your donation via Cashapp at $sign Cashapp VWCine. And that is all I have for y'all today. With all that being said, y'all, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved. I will see you on the next process painting session. Hopefully it will be sooner, and hopefully I won't be doing these once a month because, you know, life happens. And with all that being said, y'all, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved. I am out. Peace.